Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Dark Art Society podcast. My name is Chet, and I am your host for the next hour and a half or so. How y'all doing? What a crazy time. Crazy world we live in. Yeah, it's a bad time in the world right now, but I thought about canceling this week, but on the other hand, maybe people need a break from it. People who aren't living in Ukraine, who can actually afford to take a break, sadly. So I thought we'll carry on anyway. Might be a little distraction from the war that's breaking out. Anyway, I don't want to get too caught up on that. Today's episode is an interview with a new friend of mine, a digital artist named, well, it goes by the name of DAMNEngine. DAMNEngine. He does really cool 3D, dark 3D stuff, 3D animation, computer animation. I met him in the NFT space on Twitter, the dark art NFT space on Twitter. And he's a really, really nice guy, really fun to talk to, has a different kind of career than a lot of people we have on the show. He's a freelancer and does motion graphics, and then he does his fine art, which is this really cool dark 3D work. Anyway, you'll hear during the interview. So that's coming up. I just had a sale. I did some hand embellished canvas clays, which I hardly ever do. So that was kind of fun and cool, fun to do. And that went well. I also, I'm not publicizing it a lot, but I did put my dystopia book on pre-sale or pre-order. So it's up in at chetzar.bigcartel.com, and I've got it discounted for the first. I'm just selling 100 for now, and I'm not shipping until the Kickstarter orders are shipped. So that's in the description of the order form on the website. So might be a couple months. It's probably going to be a couple months before those ship out. But if you want to reserve one, you can, and it's discounted $75 instead of $95 that it's going to cost when I really do the push and start promoting it. I'm doing that to help with the shipping, because the shipping for overseas particularly has gone up so high in the last 5 years that it's too much. It's crazy. So it's just costing me a fortune. So I figure I'll sell a few books and maybe help cover my shipping. Domestic orders are fine because I use media mail, and that's only gone up a couple bucks in 5 years. But some of these books are costing like $80 to ship, which is ridiculous. Seeing that the book, back when I did the Kickstarter, I think I charged $40 for the book, thinking it was probably going to be about a $45 or $50 book. And now that it's double the size, double the effort, it's a $95 book, and even that's kind of a bargain for what it is. I could have charged over $100 for sure, but so it doesn't make sense to sell a $95 book for $40 and then pay more than the original cost of the book and shipping combined cost to ship overseas. So that's a way I'm dealing with it. So that's a good plan. And got like 120 books shipped so far. I did a final count of everything that needs to go out. I think it's around 620 books. So I've shipped about 120, so we're 500 to go. Got a system down, all good. Getting it done. It's very exciting, very, very, very relieving. And I think that was all I was going to say about that. Yeah. Oh, got I got another 20 that I'm going to ship out tomorrow, so it's moving a little faster. Hopefully, maybe get another 100 out by the end of the week, and then hopefully have it all taken care of by the end of this month. We'll see though. Every week, more books go out. So, and people are starting to post pictures of it on social media, and everybody loves it. I will say that that's a nice thing. I have not heard one bad thing about it. Everybody loves it and thinks it's better than they expected and everything. So that's great. So it's almost over. You've been hearing me complain about that book this whole podcast, I think, from the very beginning, because I think we've been doing the podcast for 4 years. Anyway, wow, what a relief. I got all the Ouija boards back for the Kickstarter rewards, so I need to figure out how I'm going to attach the glass to them, or if I'm going to attach the glass. I got tempered glass that fits them perfectly, so you could actually use it like a functioning Ouija board. They came out really good. I'm posting all this stuff on my Patreon. If you want to join my Patreon, at the very least, for $1 a month, you can see everything I'm working on. Every day that I'm working on stuff, I'm posting pictures of it. Higher levels, you get time lapses and stuff like that. But it's patreon.com/Chet Zar. And if you want to support the Dark Art Society Patreon, that is patreon.com/Dark Art Society. Sometimes people get confused and they join my Patreon and then they want to get in the Discord and the Facebook group, the Dark Art Society Facebook group. But it's two different Patreons. That's the other thing that's going on. That's kind of cool is the Discord's starting to get happening again, or finally, I guess. Maybe it never really got cracking, but a lot of people are in the Discord. I'm in there now. I'm making my own one active as well for people on my Patreon and just people that I know. I'm not going to let in a bunch of psychos, or people, real fans, not just anybody. So if you want to join up, go to patreon.com/Dark Art Society for just $1 and $1 a month, and you get in the Discord and the Facebook group. And you'll get your name read in the air, which I'm going to do right now. New subscribers. I want to mention this too quickly. I've been getting so many nice PMs in Patreon from people who really love the show. And if you send me a message or an email or a private message in Patreon, let me know if I can read it on the air, because I'd love to read some of these on the air because they're really cool. So I thought that would be kind of a cool feature. Listener mail, maybe. So anyway, all right. New subscribers, here we go. New subscribers this week. Let's see. The last one was Jason Stewart. That was from last week. Okay, we got a deletion. Okay. We got Christian Shalito. Thank you so much. Ivan Vujovic. Thank you. Appreciate it. Kathy. Thank you, Kathy. And Matt Allman, an old friend of mine from the Makeup Effects days and the Conjoined days too. I'm trying to get him on the podcast because he has a lot of stories. He used to work for Steve Johnson. Anybody knows how Steve Johnson's shop was back in the day, you'll know that anybody that works there has a lot of stories. And Matt and I worked together for many years, so that would be a fun show. So that's it. Let's get on with the interview. Really enjoyed talking to Dennis. Super nice guy, really great work. I can't wait for you to check his work out. If you hadn't seen it already, you're going to absolutely love it. It's very his work is kind of like, I think, what I wanted to do back when I was doing digital stuff, but never really kept going with it. back. I got out of digital and into painting. Now I'm getting back into digital as well, adding that to my toolkit. Anyway, let's get on with it. Here we go. My interview with Damn Engine. Hello, Dennis.
Hey, Chet.
How are you doing?
I'm doing fine during these circumstances, of course.
Yes,
it's really weird.
Yeah, this is the first episode post Russia invasion of Ukraine, which is kind of insane. Crazy
yeah, I'm not too sure that's really a label.
I know, right? I don't know. I thought I'd mention it. I've been glued to the Lookner YouTube channel watching the whole thing. It's been just crazy, but I don't want to get into that stuff at all. We want a break from that stuff. So how's it going?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. I'm really busy now with client work, so it's a bit less art for me at the moment. We have elections coming up, and I do that kind of stuff as well. So yeah, I have more viewers for my client work than for my artwork, but
yeah, hey, whatever works, man. Whatever pays the bills.
Yeah, it's also to fund everything I'm doing, of course.
Right.
For me, it's a way to live.
Yeah, and then do whatever artwork you want.
Yeah.
So where are you? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. It also pays for the equipment, of course, because
right.
I use a lot of equipment for my stuff, so yeah, it's a good thing to do.
Yeah. You got to do it for your client work. You got to have all the nice computers and stuff. So yeah. Oh, I happen to have this badass computer. I guess I'll make some art on it after hours.
Exactly.
So where are you located? Where are you from?
I'm in the Netherlands. I was actually born in a place called Amstelveen, which is right next to Amsterdam.
Okay.
And now I moved one local region further. I live in Uithoorn, which no one knows, but it's near the airport. So then, yeah, when people need a ride to the airport, they suddenly know where I live. So
right, that's cool. Wow, the Netherlands. That's a desirable place to live, from what I understand.
Yeah, we'll see in 20 years when the sea is a bit higher. And
yeah, right. True. Yeah, there's no escape. There's no escape anymore. You know what I mean? No. It's like it's everywhere. It's crazy. You just got to kind of I don't know, give up, let go, just roll.
Buy a boat.
Yeah, or buy a boat, or buy a houseboat.
Yeah. Well, these houseboats we have, they're actually made of concrete, so they won't float up with the sea. So.
Oh yeah. They need to make like a floating island.
They're building floating cities here.
Really?
Yeah. Also near Amsterdam, there are houses that actually float up, but I don't think they can manage 2 meters or something.
Oh, really? Yeah. that sounds like something that's going to happen in the future. Floating cities. Yeah. I guess that movie Waterworld was about that. Did you ever see that movie Waterworld with Kevin Costner?
I tried, but every Kevin Costner movie lasts like 6 hours or something. So, yeah.
I never watched it, but I think that's what it's about. Anyway, okay, let's get we definitely don't want to talk about Kevin Costner movies. So what was your it's like the Netherlands to me seems like, no problems. I mean, I know there's problems everywhere, but compared to being like in America right now, it's like the Netherlands seems super chill and super cool and pretty laid back, and legal weed and legal mushrooms. Maybe not anymore, but I
know people jumped out of the windows,
right?
And they made it illegal. So.
But
they forgot they also used cocaine.
But I don't know. It's one of those places that I don't know. From an American perspective, it seems like such a cool place, kind of, But I guess it depends.
It's heavily organized, though. It's like everything is organized. I mean, if you walk in a forest here, what we have of forest left actually, but everything is regulated and stuff in a way. So there is freedom, like you have the freedom to think, but
Mhm.
there is no. Besides that, it's pretty strict with stuff. There's so
Oh,
many
really?
rules here. Yeah,
Yeah, that's usually the like the flip side of, I don't know, a more socialist type of functioning communal, not, not communism, but communal, where
yeah,
everyone's taken care of and everyone's okay generally. It's like one of the things that is the flip side of when you have that is you have more regulations and stuff. It's
yeah.
like, one or the other. They're both, everything always has a problem that comes along with it, no matter what.
I think it becomes, yeah, of course it's good that everyone's taken care of,
Right.
but yeah, it becomes also a more boring place sometimes to live
Yeah,
after.
right. Yeah, I can, it's interesting, yeah, because sometimes conflict and things like that kind of create, um I don't know, art and stuff comes out of it. It's
Yeah,
when there's complacency, it's like less challenging. So I'm always saying this, it's like everything's seeking equilibrium. We're
yeah.
always trying to get beyond this point of equilibrium where everything's all good, and it's like it's never going to happen. That's not reality.
No,
Doesn't work that way.
well, I don't think it will work either. If everything is good, yeah, what the hell, you know? I mean,
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
you also you don't appreciate the good things anymore because
Right.
yeah,
You
it's
get,
standard.
yeah, you get used to them. So you're what you I mean, I first discovered you're in my group of new friends on Twitter since I got into NFTs, and there's this dark art community of, you know people outside of the United States for the most part, which is cool because most of the dark art community uh I hang with, like on Facebook and Dark Art Society, it's mostly Americans, I think. And so
Yeah,
when I went over to Twitter, it's like a lot of Eastern Europeans and Netherlands, and it's just like Ukraine. We've been in this text
yeah.
thread watching what's going on with some of those artists. But so you do, you create really dark computer work, artwork on the computer, which is cool. You're doing NFTs, but your day job is kind of like, what, graphic design? What would you call it?
I would call it a broadcast designer or something. I do mostly stuff for TV.
Oh,
So
kind of like motion graphics.
yeah, I do motion graphics, but usually for TV programs. So like when we had this year where we celebrated 75 years of liberation from the Nazis, well,
Mhm.
from World War II. And I make the graphics for these things. So I make the maps and I do all the design and stuff like that. But also like the upcoming elections, yeah, the presenter shows the results. I make these graphics. So I design that kind of stuff. So it's kind of really different from what I do with my art.
Yeah, totally.
I also wonder what people would think if they would know,
Right.
like all those viewers.
Well, the last interview I had of Ben Connellan, who does this really cool
Yeah,
dark stuff. He's a personal trainer for his day
yeah,
job. It's like people, probably don't. He said the people are, think it's kind of cool, actually, which was pretty. His clients think it's kind of cool that he does that, which is kind of heartening. Do the people you work with know you're like,
yeah,
what,
absolutely.
and
Yeah,
what
I've
what do
been
they
work.
what do they think?
They always make fun of it, of course. Yeah, don't add too many skulls to these election results and stuff like that. So it's
Wow.
so yeah, they're okay. I mean, they follow me on Instagram and stuff. So yeah, I mean, it's okay.
That's cool.
They like it actually, but yeah, it's not their style, of course. But they like that I'm doing it.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, that's all we can ask is that people, like, I don't know, give us respect and appreciate what we're doing. You don't have to like it. You don't have to like the dark
no,
stuff. Just let us have our lane and don't give us a hard time about it. That's it, really.
yeah, I understand this stuff, and I mean, yeah, I don't like everything either. So
Right.
I mean,
Exactly.
yeah,
Everybody's got their taste.
Yeah, it would be really boring. Everyone likes the same stuff. I
Right,
mean,
right.
do we get brown?
Yep. Yeah, right. Yeah, beige.
Yeah.
So you know, it's funny because, you know, I've been doing computer animation since I started in like the mid 90s, and got into it around 98, really into it, where I was doing 3D animation and using a lot of After Effects and stuff. And I remember back then, well, I did that for a few years, and then I did this DVD of, I did all these tool animations.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm explaining to the audience also. But and I made this DVD, and I just worked on that. I think it was like 6 months. I was doing all these animations, making the sound, doing everything in this little cellar, this cold little cellar. I had this computer, it was all dusty and dirty and nasty. And then I got so burnt out on because just saw doing CG and compositing, and
Yeah.
you know, it was super fun at first, and then by the end I was like, I got to get away from the computer, this is driving me insane. And so I stepped away, ended up starting to paint and get into fine art that way, and then I just never really went back to it. But I guess my point was, at the time when I was getting into After Effects and CG stuff, I was totally into motion graphics. Like I was thinking this could be a job I could do, because at that point I'm like trying to maybe get out of makeup effects, you know.
Yeah.
And so I read all these. This is back when it was like, when you had to learn the program, you had to go buy a book about the program.
I remember.
I've got it in the base in my cellar. I've got like a little bookcase of all these like Lightwave 3D After Effects books.
After Effects 1.0 book.
Yeah.
Somewhere. So.
Right. So it's like from a I'm not great with graphic design. Just I'm not that naturally good at it, but I do. I always liked the technical challenge of motion graphics and stuff. Like I enjoy that. Like I watch videos now on YouTube just for fun, kind of, and to learn tips and tricks of After Effects. And I love that stuff. I mean, I could see that could be kind of a fun job. I mean, you probably are sick of it, but
yeah, I'm doing it for 20 years, something, so it's like good.
Yeah, I know. How do you keep it interesting after 20 years? Do you like try and speed up your workflow, or do you try and do things more efficiently, or what to keep it interesting?
Well, it's like for me, it's like a puzzle as well. I see it as a challenge, like a mathematical challenge sometimes, because I script it as well. So I script in After Effects.
Wait. What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean you script?
Like I make automated title bars, like these lower thirds and stuff that scale automatically, stuff like that. It's not really. I mean, some people script like crazy. They can.
Okay. So like the little.
Yeah, it's data-driven stuff.
Right,
so
the formulas and I forget what do they call it? They call it
expressions.
Expressions, yeah. So you use a lot of expressions.
Yeah,
because I've been. Oh yeah, you were the one that told me about that, about the looping, how to loop an expression in After Effects. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Okay, so you know your shit. That's hard stuff.
I'm just lazy, so the more you can script, the less you have to do. So
yeah, but you have to know more math and stuff.
I was really good at it at school. So yeah.
Oh, you were good at math?
Yeah,
that's good. I wish I was.
I'm a really weird creative person. So
yeah, that is unusual. That's unusual. That's cool though, man. I'm so into math. Like I think it's so interesting, and I'm actually fascinated by math, but I'm just bad at it. Like I just don't.
Yeah.
I have a hard time conceptualizing numbers. Like I need things to see things in order, like they need to be images for me to understand them well. You know what I mean? It's
I know exactly. Yeah, you want to see an outcome immediately. Well, if you start scripting, you kind of work in the blind.
Right, exactly. Yeah. It's like you don't have that feedback of something happening while you're doing it.
That's why. Yeah, see, you have these Houdini guys these days. That's really crazy, though. I mean, I messed with Houdini. and
The
it's
3D
so much
program. It's like a 3D
yeah.
program from back in the day. I remember Houdini. It was really expensive back in the day too.
Well, these days it's not expensive anymore. So you have these
No?
indie licenses, yeah, like $200 a year or something.
Wow.
So, but yeah, that's all node based and a lot of math. So I'm really impressed by what some people make out of it because I'm not
Yeah.
at that kind of level.
Okay. You have to know like programming language kind of to do that.
Yeah, it uses code, yeah, and
Code.
people, yeah. And nodes. I like nodes though. I like connecting blocks with each other.
Man, I'm gonna have to ask you to explain, not now, but in the future, to explain nodes to me, because you know I'm working my 3D stuff. I learned on Lightwave 3D. That's the weird outcast program. Everyone jokes about it
I
nowadays.
used it for a year, I think. Yeah,
Okay, yeah, and
yeah,
it was, how it is. You learn on a program, and then it's your program, and it's
yeah.
like I don't have time to learn Blender really or
Exactly. Yeah.
Maya or anything. So it's like they updated it, I think, in 2020 or 2019, which was amazing because everyone thought the program was dead. So I upgraded it, and now it's got node based. It's got nodes in it, and I don't
Yeah.
know how the fuck to use a node. It's like I get it in principle, but I see them, and I can't really understand it. So anyway, I'm gonna hit you up eventually about
That's cool.
how it works in principle. I mean, or just how to use them. But yeah, there's all these new features in it. It's totally different now. I used to be able to fly on that thing and render stuff looking really good, really fast, and now it's like I can't. I don't even know. Everything's changed around, so I kind of have to relearn it in a way. Um,
Yeah,
anyway,
it's not like riding a bicycle because it's like,
yeah,
yeah, it's like you go from a bicycle to a unicycle or something,
yeah,
with your
right.
one wheel.
I got on it though, and I was able to, because once I started getting into this NFT thing, I start realizing the potential, and started thinking, wow, this is kind of a reason to go back to my digital roots. It's something I've always been, I was way into digital at the time. I was like totally obsessed. I was totally into it. I saw the potential for amazing stuff, amazing art, film, little art animations is what I wanted to do. And so I was using it a lot. And I got back into it recently since I got into NFTs, thinking, oh, maybe I need to get back into digital because this would be really cool to do exclusive NFTs that are just digital.
Yeah,
And I don't know if you remember, but the Lightwave modeler was always its strong point. Like the
yeah.
modeler was really good. So I was surprised at all the shortcuts that came back to me. Like I was remembering, and I can model pretty well in there now just after using it a few times. But the layout, the layout and
The
animations
interface, yeah.
changed so much that I'm just like, oh man, maybe I should just learn Blender, because I'm gonna have to relearn this whole thing anyway. I don't know.
Yeah, shortcuts are like muscle memory
Yeah,
almost.
right.
So that's
Yeah.
why I love Adobe with changing all the shortcuts all the time.
Yeah, right.
Like fucking pissed at that stuff.
I remember when I was using Photoshop, I got a job doing it was doing a bunch of Photoshop stuff back in, I don't know, it was in between jobs and effects, early 2000s, and I learned all the shortcuts in Photoshop. And it was like, man, this is so much faster. I was just doing everything on the keyboard. And then of course I forgot
Yeah.
them all, except, a couple. So what's okay first, but I'm totally interested in the technical stuff, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you a lot of questions about that just because I'm interested. But before that, how was your give me the overview of your artistic journey, and were you an art kid and all that sort of thing, childhood?
Yeah. Well, I was a bit of a loner always as a kid, so I used to draw a lot. So I think it's not a weird story amongst us people because,
Right.
well, so yeah, I said it in the Twitter Spaces one time as well. I started with pirate flags with skulls. That was my first thing
Oh,
I drew.
pirate flags. you
Yeah,
know what's funny is I had a red tricycle when I was a little kid, and I got a, a pirate flag, black, like a Jolly Roger. I think it was black with the skull and crossbones.
Yeah.
And that you know, remember those old decals that you dip in water?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I got that, and I put that one decal on my red tricycle, and that was it. It
That's
was like
cool.
my evil pirate bicycle.
That's awesome.
It's so badass. So I can totally relate to the pirate
Yeah.
flag thing.
I actually kept drawing skulls, and I don't know. I drew zombies when I was like 7, 8 years old.
Okay.
I saw some movies at an unhealthy age, I think. So
Yeah,
like,
me too.
so yeah, that kind of influenced me. And yeah, really at school, they were kind of like, what the hell is this? So they talked to my parents though.
They talked to your parents?
Yeah, one time. So yeah. But yeah. But yeah, I was also bullied for a year. So the thing I could do was like I could draw. Yeah, that was what I wanted to be good at. So I kept drawing.
Right.
But I also learned the technical stuff. I was drawing. My parents bought me these books, how to draw in perspective and stuff.
Oh,
So it
cool.
was already kind of going to 3D almost. So,
Right. So they were supportive of your art and stuff, drawing.
well, yeah. They always let me do it. Say so. It was part of me, and my dad always brought tons of paper from his work, so there was always
Cool.
enough paper around the house.
That's great. That makes all the difference sometimes, you know.
Yeah, but what also happened is that my really at a young age we got a computer. So when I was 7 years old, we got our first computer that like you could really program on and stuff like that.
When you were 7, what how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh Jesus, you really want to ask?
I'm 55. I'm 55. Yeah, okay. I know you're not older than
I'm 46.
You're young. You're young. You're almost 10 years. Wait a minute. I'm 50. Yeah, I'm 54. I'm 50. Yeah, 54.
That's always hard beginning of the year.
So, okay. So that was probably in 7 years old. You were born in probably 78.
75.
Oh, 70. Wait, 70. Okay, 75, 67. Okay. I remember writing 1975. I remember writing 1974 on my school paper.
Really?
That's how old I am.
Yeah.
So, okay. So what year is it that you got that computer around?
That was around 1982.
Okay.
It was you back then you had like this Commodore 64 and stuff.
Yeah,
This
right.
this was another type. This was called a BBC. It was a British thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I started actually making graphics on it. Yeah, it looked totally ridiculous, of course, because you had like I don't know, you had 8 colors and you had like 120 pixels or some stuff.
Yeah,
well, you had still more resolution than a CryptoPunk, so yeah,
right.
Actually.
So, yeah, drawing with the mouse and everything, right?
No, there was no mouse.
Oh, it was all like
on the keyboard.
Oh my God! Wow.
Also, they built a whole computer in the keyboard, so I remember getting angry, and yeah, sometimes you slam your keyboard. Well, the whole case was one keyboard with a computer in it.
How funny.
And wow. Yeah, you shouldn't slam those things. I mean, right now you just replace your keyboard. But
right. You destroyed the whole computer because you slammed the keyboard.
Yeah, and it was all with cassettes and stuff. But I made I programmed some graphic stuff in it as well. So I made these like small parallax scrolling animations. So
really?
Yeah.
That's so cool. I so wish I would have had access to a computer when I was a kid. Because I remember kids, like when I was in the 7th grade, they were on computers and I just had no clue. And I didn't really get it. I didn't get into them until I was an adult. I never had a computer, and I was fascinated and interested, but I would have loved to have been in the early days, because I know they were talking about programming things like you're saying. Yeah. And that seems like it would be so fun and cool to do back then.
Well, it's also, you grow up with the computer, so
right.
Everything new, it becomes easier though, because people who get into it right now, they're sometimes really overwhelmed by what everything is there. You have an interface full of buttons. But when I grew up, I saw the buttons kind of appear. So then the next version had more buttons.
Right.
So you kind of grow up with it. So it helps, I think.
Yeah. So did you kind of like stick with the computer the whole throughout your life as with your
No,
artwork, or were you kind of doing artwork on the side and there were two separate things kind of?
yeah, there were two. Yeah, because the real art was not really possible in this thing. So yeah, we
True,
had to
that's
make
true.
pixel graphic. I made like at some early age. Yeah, I saw these Giger books I had, and he made these huge pen and ink drawings, and I started with that actually. So
Oh, really?
yeah, but then
No,
with
go
this
ahead, go
fine
ahead.
liner. Yeah, with this fine liner on A3 or something, which was
Wow.
kind of big
Yeah.
for these kind of drawings.
Wow, do you still have them?
Yeah, I have them somewhere. They're not that great. So
Yeah, that's
yeah,
cool though. I mean, that's part of your artistic heritage, I guess. Your history.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I could draw a little bit back then. I mean, yeah, but it was not. But I was never a great drawer. Say, like I see
Oh,
some
okay.
people sometimes. Like, yeah, it's just insane. I can draw better on a computer than on paper.
Oh, wow. Well, how, the stuff, everything I've seen you do, like your NFTs and stuff, they've all been 3D, right? It's all, you're
Yeah,
not doing really 2D stuff on there, 2D
I
digital, are
I
you?
used to do it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So,
Uh,
so, but as far as like, do you draw, do you just do regular drawing as a way to kind of like get your idea down and then digitally work on it?
well, I sketch the ideas in a sketchbook. Just it's like more like doodles.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and but yeah, I started differently because when I started with this real digital art, when you could really do something, scan stuff and such, I started with photo manipulations. Actually, I took
Right.
my own photos. I always used my own photos for it, and
Oh,
this
cool.
was like a strict rule for me. So never use stock footage or
Oh,
something.
good. That's cool.
So it was a lot of work as well. So I went to all kind of musea and stuff to photograph skulls from every site and animals and whatever and zoos and yeah, I just I tossed it all together in a way. I had an ID, so I had to go somewhere to photograph it. So it was a lot of work back then.
Right. Right.
But yeah, that yeah, I don't know. Then the drawing part kind of disappeared. So it's like, yeah, I started doing that stuff, and right now I can 3D it, so I don't have to go every place to just take photos of it. So this is
Right.
much easier for me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
also the light is always correct. I mean,
Right.
in photo manipulations, you constantly have to adjust light in your photos, and it's horrible actually.
Right. Yeah, that's what was so exciting to me about 3D in general is like I felt like it's like it's like having a little movie studio in your computer.
Yeah,
It's I was so excited about it when I mean I still am into it. But when I first discovered it, it was like this is amazing to have control, not to have to make a movie physically with a bunch of people and
yeah.
and I just think it's super fun, super cool. But man, it makes your brain hurt. At least when you're learning. I remember when I was learning the program and when I was doing that DVD, it was like every day I felt just drained. 12 hours a
Yeah,
day doing 3D and like learning also, you're learning all these new
yeah,
things. Made me feel like it made me smarter. Like it was every day
yeah.
it was making me smarter. It felt like it was weird.
Yeah, but it's like going to school 12 hours per day.
Hmm.
And so it's
Totally exhausting.
yeah. I
Uh,
mean, 2 hours of school was exhausting for me. So
right.
but
Did you not like school?
no,
Oh, I hated school, man.
it. I mean, I liked some people at school, but there were all the outcast people, which I was in bands with and stuff like that. I mean, that was the fun part of school. But
Right. Yeah, yeah.
I did the lesson. That's why I like math, because I didn't have to learn much for math. I just had to learn the formulas and stuff and why they work this way. I mean,
Right.
with history and stuff, you had to learn so much stuff. You
Yeah,
had to
yeah.
read all this. Yeah, it's my thing. I just rather have logic, so it takes me, formula you can learn in 10 minutes. But
Yeah.
all this history stuff you have to read through and remember, and then
Yeah.
forget the next week.
Yeah, and you know, at the time, I mean, I'm really interested in history now, but
Yeah,
back then I wasn't. When you're a kid, you're not interested in, who gives a shit when
I,
you're a little
I'm the
kid.
same. Yeah,
You know, it's like you're interested in monsters and cool, you know, skateboarding or
yeah,
whatever. It's like riding your bike. I mean, I understand they have to teach it, but they should try and make it more interesting. Because I had well, I had a couple history teachers that made it kind of interesting, but for the most part, it's just like, it was just drudgery, man. It was so
yeah,
boring. And then with math, I fell behind like right when we were starting. I remember multiplication, learning all your
yeah.
multiplication tables. I was slower than the other people, and you had to do them all in like a minute or something like that. And I was always like at the end and barely or not finish the last couple. And then fractions came along, and I couldn't, I couldn't conceptualize fractions, and no one really took the time to explain it to me. And I just, every year I'd fall behind more and more, to where I
That
was
sucks. Yeah.
just barely passing. I never failed a class in any class, but I would always get D's in math because I was just barely hanging on, It's a bummer. I felt like,
Yeah, that's,
because it was early, just because the first, that in like third grade or whenever, second grade, when I started falling behind, I just never was able to catch back up, and no one like stopped and said, "Hey, let me help you with this." It's like
no,
public
that sucks. That
public
then you
schools.
fall one step behind, and then you fall the next step
Yeah,
behind. Yeah,
yeah, and then you become an adult. It's just like, can't do fractions.
well, you
Now
you have a calculator now. So.
I know exactly. And I do understand fractions now, but
Okay. Otherwise, I'll script it for you in After Effects.
yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, what do you have to like? What what kind of mathematics do you need to know to do coding and scripting in like After Effects or a 3D program? Is it like, do you have to know calculus or anything?
No, well, yeah, I use it. I make pie charts and stuff like that, and graphs as well. And yeah, then you need to know some math, but it's basically JavaScript. So it's
Okay.
and yeah, you need to know some formulas. But sometimes I also look at formula. I mean, I don't know every formula anymore from
Right.
school. I mean,
Yeah.
why would I remember all this stuff? I can look it back, and yeah. And yeah, people say you need to know this knowledge because, yeah, what if the internet goes down? But yeah, if the internet goes down, I don't have a broadcast anymore either. So yeah.
Right, that's true. So did you how about your work history? I mean, did you go to college after high school? Or I don't know what the grade system is in the Netherlands, but did you go to university or college and then?
No, I actually went to graphic school after, yeah, after
It's like a
high
trade,
school.
it's like a trade school kind of.
Trade school?
Yeah,
Like,
it's like
oh yeah, like yeah, I know what you
focused on
mean.
one
Yeah,
specific skill.
yeah.
Okay.
It was mainly focused at designing. So
So
yeah,
kind of
that's
like
the.
art, kind of like an art school, sort of.
Well, it was not that artistic. I learned to develop photos and stuff. You learn to use the darkroom and things like that. So it's pretty cool. So it was quite hands-on.
That's
You
cool.
learned use a printing press, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you had lessons in typography, stuff like that. So it was more
Okay.
like to
All
do design things, really. So
graphic design type stuff.
yeah. And yeah, but there I also learned 3D. Well, they tried to teach me 3D, but yeah, the teacher was really bad.
What program were you learning on?
Softimage. So that's
Oh,
also
Softimage.
really, yeah,
Yeah.
also the easiest program to learn, of course, as a starter. It's really complicated.
Yeah,
And
right.
then
Yeah, right.
I borrowed the manual. I was an intern somewhere during school. I borrowed the manual and I thought I would break my back because it was like, I don't know, it was like 10 kilos of manual or something.
Yeah, people don't realize, man, back in the day, it was confusing. It was hard. I mean, programs I think are a lot more intuitive nowadays.
Yeah.
Especially 3D stuff. But okay, so you had a little taste of 3D. And so how did that when did you start working in the field? Like, when did you get a job for the?
Well,
doing-
the third year was kind of like an intern kind of year at school. So you worked at the company actually then
Oh,
to learn
okay.
and that was pretty cool. There I learned a lot. I learned a lot of Photoshop there.
Mm-hmm.
I learned 3D Studio 4. That was under DOS still.
Wow. Yeah.
And I learned Softimage there as well. So yeah, I also used Lightwave at that time. That was when I used Lightwave.
Right. Yay,
Yeah,
Lightwave.
and it was like the first company. You had to go to two companies to be an internet. So you had like 2.5 years of being an intern. And the first company did they did things like interactive CD-ROMs, which was really new back then.
I remember those.
So it was like this shopping thing. We had to build a whole city in 3D, like where you could shop. And yeah, and I had to do stuff for a CD for Nikon. I thought it was like for photo cameras. It was kind of like an interactive thing. And the second job I had was like second internship was at an industrial design company. So they designed like plane chairs and perfume bottles, stuff like that. So that's really technical in the end.
Yeah. All in 3D, right? That's all like 3D 3D software stuff.
Yeah, so there I learned a lot actually at those two companies.
I bet, yeah.
And actually during my fourth year I got a job. Well, I worked as a VJ, like a video jockey in a club in Amsterdam. So we projected these 3D animations and stuff like on a big screen. So
oh, cool.
I was one of the earlier ones that used a computer for that because everyone was using these VHS tapes still.
Oh, wow. That's so you remember when there was like software for that? Do you remember seeing
there was back then no software. I built my own software Director. In Macromedia Director. I built an interface.
Really?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Because I remember there was a point, this must have been early 2000s, that they were starting to come out with software.
Yeah, you have this Resolum or something, or how you pronounce it.
Yeah, I don't remember the names of them, but I remember there were people were trying to sell them. Of course, they're expensive, and it's on the tip of my tongue. I remember because that's at that point too when I was way into CG and stuff. That was another thing I was thinking I could do is like, because I did the stuff for Tool. I could do stuff for bands. I was thinking, as an option.
Yeah.
So I was really interested in that whole thing, and I did do an animation, a couple animations for some like some weird pop star singer from like Mexico or something. Yeah, it was like some super poppy stuff. So I did get a little gig, but I was never able to make it work, being business wise in CG.
I did it every weekend. So I made these during the week. I just made small animations to loop, and then during the weekends, usually Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I worked in the club at midnight. So
cool. How long did you do that for?
I think like 7 or 8 years.
Wow.
But at some point I was approached by the guy I VJ'd sometimes with, he had a job offer for the company I still work for now, like we're still freelance for the broadcast company. It's actually the Dutch National TV, and they wanted him to work there, but he wanted to go to school, back to school actually. So I went in his place, and I took that job. So at some point I was working 7 days per week because I worked during the week at the broadcast company, and in the weekends I was VJing still. So it's kind of tough. And after 2 years, I pretty much died of it. So, I fell asleep during my morning shift one time and stuff.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. That's not good at the news. You shouldn't fall asleep.
Only when you're watching the news.
Yeah.
So okay, and then okay, this is how you're basically still at that same place. That same job?
Yeah. Well, it's different. Back then I was on a salary. Right now I'm freelancing, so I also have other clients. But this is my biggest client. So
Okay. Do you like it
yeah,
better, freelancing?
yeah,
Yeah, because
because
I prefer freelancing too, even though there's you know maybe not as steady work. It's still I like the freedom you have with it.
it's also the sense of freedom, because sometimes it's just like being on a salary, or even worse, with the
Right.
hours you make.
True. But
Yeah.
you're working at home though, right?
Yeah. Well, sometimes I work at the client, so I work in the studios.
Oh, okay.
But I used to sit there at the graphic department, but that's really boring work, because it's actually, you have to mask out people and put them on a background. Like right now, you would mask out Putin, put him on a flag,
Right.
stuff like that. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's I like the more complicated things actually. So
Yeah.
so
What are your favorite kind of motion graphics to do for stuff like that?
yeah, that's a bit not that great right now, but the World War II stuff I really like. So
Oh,
uh,
okay.
I like making stuff. I had to make for this project. I had to make stuff look old but modern at the same time,
Oh,
because
that's cool.
yeah, and these are interesting jobs actually.
Right.
I'm also really interested in that history right now. So at
Hmm.
school I wasn't, but
Right.
right now.
Same. Yeah, I think
I
that's
also had to do a lot of compositing for the project, because they recorded stuff now, but it had to look like it was back then. And so I had to remove light poles, cars, and stuff like that.
oh,
So
how cool.
yeah,
I love that shit.
so you have to do all kind of research from what that did it look like, more or less. And yeah,
Yeah, that's cool. Plus adding I remember also back in the day I was a lot of my animations I was aging them and adding like there was like
yeah,
a plug-in that was like there was one plug-in that was I forget what it was like kind of like aged film or something. And so it
yeah.
would like skip a little bit and it would have all kinds of grain and lines going down it. I just thought that was the coolest thing.
I still see it. It's still being used
I
all the
know, right?
time.
But I love that stuff. I love that that kind of I don't know building a digital project in that way to where you're kind of like aging it and adding things in, and I think that's just I don't know. It seems pretty fun.
Well, it's also important for my artwork in a way, because I kind of like to make it look not too digital usually. So
Hmm.
it's
Yeah,
but I used to scan textures for that. I scan a lot of textures, so that's and I
yeah.
photograph a lot of textures. So and
Yeah,
yeah,
so it's
that
all
make
yours.
yeah, it's all mine. So because I don't like it's stupid, because no one will even notice if you would use a stock texture of some metal or something.
Yeah, right. I know. That's a thing.
But it
That's
feels weird.
I know. I'm the same way, man. It's like for example, I've got an animation I want to do as an NFT. I've this
Yeah,
idea of something that I wanted to do as a real sculpture, but it would have just been like too expensive to do physically.
yeah,
And so I have this CG animation, and it's based around a skeleton, just a human skeleton. And I started looking around. It's like, okay, there's pretty good skeleton models for $130 online. Maybe I can get one of those, but it's like I just want to. It's like a lot of work, but it's like I kind of want to just make my own skeleton and
yeah. I
model
know.
it.
But it's hard though. It's hard to keep up the process without using assets. I
I
do
know.
I do think you can use assets, but you should still modify them then at least,
Yeah,
you
I
know.
agree. That's what I was thinking. It's like maybe I could buy one and just change the
Sculpt over
textures
it.
and
You can
sculpt
sculpt
on top.
over. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Um, I mean, it makes sense for things like, especially for things like mountains and
Yeah.
grass, and it's like you don't have to. It's just like my my friend Josh, who's helped me get into Josh Breckenridge, who helped
Yeah.
me get into the NFT thing. He's learning Unreal Engine.
Yeah.
And it's like it just makes sense to use these pre-made mountains and stuff. It's like there's no need to. They already look amazing. you know
Yeah, you can modify them. I mean, you
yeah,
can
right.
modify stuff to make it look like you want, but you have some bases to start from. It's
Right.
just sometimes impossible to do everything yourself. You can't
Yeah.
keep up. Then you're working for I don't know, 3 months on one image.
Yeah, exactly. Um, so okay, this is a good time to talk about your personal artwork.
Yeah.
It's man, it's it's I love it. It's stuff that I'm telling you, it's stuff that I wanted. That it's the kind of thing I wanted to do back when I was doing 3D stuff. It's like it's got, I don't know, it's very, I don't know, it's got a warmth to it.
Yeah.
It's not super CG-ish. It's, I don't know. It's like I totally get what you're doing, and I think it's really, really awesome. Um,
Thanks.
and so you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of stuff that's 3D, it just has that, it, it doesn't have that warmth to it. I don't know if you know what I'm saying though, right?
Yeah.
It looks too clean and too, which is good for some art, but I always was more interested in, I don't know, making stuff look like it kind of existed more in reality and it wasn't cold,
I call it, yeah, I call it like it has to look authentic in a way.
Right,
Like,
right,
yeah,
right.
it's perhaps a weird term for it, but it's the best I can describe it. It has
Yeah,
to. I sometimes also want to make it look like, oh yeah, perhaps this was a, yeah, not exactly, but like it is a photo from something,
right. Yeah. That's what
Someone took a photo.
that's what I used to do on my, even when I was doing 2D painting and or like photo manipulations, because people don't realize, but before I was started oil painting, I was trying to be like a digital artist selling prints of my digital stuff, and I did that for the
Yeah,
first couple of years. So I was painting in Photoshop and I was doing some photo manipulation and I made prints of them, but I would always like add a grain layer and stuff just to
yeah.
kind of like dirty it up so it didn't look super crisp, you know?
Well, it also pulls the whole image together because yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
I mean it's a way to make it all look like a whole. So
right.
I mean, with 3D things, you always have, yeah, it's different objects and stuff like that, and you have to bring it all to one piece.
Yeah. The grain layer is kind of like in oil painting, the equivalent to what's called veiling, where
Yeah,
you'll just paint like like a transparent color over everything just to kind of pull everything together,
yeah.
you know. But that was like my process for a long time. So I guess that's why I like your work so much, because it's like I totally relate to it. But yeah, and it's just like cool monsters,
It,
freaky
it's
ass weird monsters and skulls and stuff. It's my kind of thing. I love it.
it's kind of weird because I try to make like less dark stuff for a bit, but it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. It's
That's
like I start out like I seriously started out some images that were starting like, oh yeah, this might look the same idea behind it, but it might look a bit brighter or happier or
right.
whatever. It always turns out like this. It's
That's the thing, I'm not like exclusively, as far as what I like, it's not exclusively dark. I mean, I love that stuff,
yeah.
but I like all kinds of art, but I'm only good at the dark stuff, really. I mean, it's what I'm best at, so I just do it, and it's the most
Yeah,
fun to me too.
yeah. It's just a weird thing. It's like the darkness is pulling me, I
Yeah.
guess.
The darkness is calling your name.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. It's a weird process. It's just, but yeah, my ideas are usually already not too happy usually, which I start with. So
What's that? What
uh,
was that?
well, the ideas I start with, like if I start an image, usually the concept is already not that like a happy place. Eh? So
Right. Yeah, how do you go about planning these? Does it change a lot throughout the process? Because that's the thing with 3D, is that um it's hard to, I don't know, to me it seems hard to like just kind of start messing with it and make something. It's like you sort of, at least in my experience, it was like you kind of had to have an idea of what you wanted to do first, because you have to build
Yeah.
the assets and
I
figure.
know I know pretty exact what I want to make. So
Oh, okay. And
that's why yeah. People, I see people animating their 3D stuff, and yeah, I can do that. But actually, I shouldn't with most pieces because I didn't sculpt the back of it.
right, really. So you're just,
Yeah,
yeah, you're just working on what's going to be seen, because that's cool.
because yeah, why would I sculpt the back? No one is gonna see it. So
Yep.
yeah, it's like these flat saloon towns in movies, you know, like
Right.
yeah, like these Western towns that are only a front.
Yeah,
It's
right. Yeah, yeah. That's like that's funny too. You mentioned movies, because that's a very like classic thing that happens in effects, is the director will say, we're only shooting it from this side, so don't worry about detailing this
yeah, and
side.
then he
And then
shoots
they
it from the
fucking, and
other.
then they do a close-up on the side. It's like just a classic. But with your work, you're in control, so you don't have to, what you're
I can
gonna
only
do.
get pissed at myself. So.
Yeah. So okay, because these are pretty complex pieces. So do you work it out? You work it out like kind of like a basic composition first as a sketch?
Yeah, well, sometimes the sketch is in my head, so I didn't even draw it. It's
Oh,
just
really?
there. Yeah, I
So you
just
can.
wrote I write a line in my sketchbook like text. So what it is,
Mm,
that I just have to write the idea down, and somehow it keeps imprinted in my mind what I thought of.
mm, wow.
I don't know. Yeah, it's really. I don't need to like really sketch out but what I see. I just remember it. It's kind of odd, but yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's handy.
Yeah, it
I only
is.
have to write 5 words and I know what it is. But the stupid thing is, if I don't write these words down, I'll forget it.
Yeah, I'm kind of like that too. Now that you mention it, it's like what I'll if I have to do something, I'll write it down. And once I write it down, it's almost like I don't need the note anymore. It's like the act of writing
Yeah,
it down is what cements it in your mind.
yeah, it's like school. You're just writing these lines of what you have to remember.
Right, right.
But yeah, I have a really clear idea what I want to make, and sometimes it's frustrating because in my head it looks slightly better than what I create.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. That is how close are you to the mark? Like, are you like, do you get 75% or do you get 90% of what you imagined, or what's the ratio of your,
Yeah,
because it changes, it's never what you
no,
see in your head. Never. It has to.
well, it never gets to 100 for sure, but
Right.
it's
Yeah.
like because you'll change something because your mind sees things differently. I think so.
Yeah.
It doesn't see colors combined. Yeah, I always have the feeling my mind focuses on certain points. It knows the whole, but it doesn't know how they're combined somehow. It's
Right.
kind of like yeah, you know these details, but you don't see the whole picture or something. It's a
Right.
weird thing. Um, yeah, I think it. Yeah, what's the ratio?
Or what's your
What's
average? What's your average, I guess? Do you feel, because it's also subjective too.
I think yeah, of course. I think I'm 80% close
Okay.
usually. Like pretty close to what I want.
How
And of course, sometimes I change it, of course, because I think
right.
okay, my mind was not right. I have to fix this. So
Yeah, exactly. I had my first big animation I did is this one called Toilet Training that Tool used, and it was based on this. I had this an image, a trip image when I was tripping in my mind. It was like I closed my eyes and I saw this movie happen, right? And I was like going, "Oh my God, this is amazing." And I remember at the time, this is pre-CG, this is like 1987. And I was
yeah,
thinking, man, I wish I could film this somehow and share it because it's so cool. And then I got into CG and I was like, oh, I can do that. I can realize that trip vision I had. And in the process of making it as an animation, I was like, this would be cooler if I did this, like
yeah,
in the vision, it was these writhing bodies on the ground that were like, they had like limbs missing, but there was like smoothed over, like they were healed, like
yeah,
no head. It was just like these torsos that were going writhing. And it was a hospital room. and it was like a sterile hospital room, but I ended up changing it to like this grimy, like weird gymnasium kind of looking thing, and just because it was more interesting to look at,
Yeah.
so it's like in my mind maybe it was perfect the way it was, but when you get it out into the real world, sometimes you have to kind of like improve on it. That's the art part, I guess.
Yeah, it's a process, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it has to. Sometimes an idea grows really literally. So yeah,
Right.
I mean, the seed is there and you grow it. But I always know which direction I want to go. I kind of know the colors sometimes. So I know, okay, it has to be these colors. So it's also different kind of ways to get somewhere, I think. So
Right.
one time it's this, one time it's that.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Yeah, it's
But I don't make pieces immediately when I have an idea. Usually the idea is there for a week or so. So
oh, really?
it's
Okay.
not, yeah, it's not like I'm processing them. Yeah, usually I don't have time to do it immediately. So I get these ideas when I sit on my bike or whatever, working on something else. It's like working on client stuff, and then you're so frustrated you can't make anything.
Mm-hmm.
That's really that's the equivalent of hell for me. Like
Yeah.
I'm sitting behind the same computer, but I can't click this shortcut to Zebras or something because I have to work.
Yeah. It's the freelancer's hell.
Yeah.
I think that yeah, it's weird because I was just gonna say it's sort of required to have that gestation period in your mind.
Yeah.
Even if you're not like consciously thinking about it, I feel like your brain is working on solving it in the back of your mind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's kind of figuring out. It's like a computer.
It's like your brain is painting.
Right. Yeah. And so often I've had experiences where it's like a really good idea became like a great piece because I waited so long, because I like planned it out for years because I just didn't have time to get to it. And it was that one. Then when you go to do it, it's like it's totally figured out, and you just like do it, and it's kind of fast and easy, and it's all worked out. But we don't always have the luxury of sitting on an idea for a few years. You know what I mean?
No. It's also I made some pieces quicker than that, and yeah, I know that I want to change them later, and I have that less with pieces that are soaking, floating in my head for longer. That they're just
but
they're
that's
more developed.
Right. But on the flip side of that, sometimes stuff just comes to you. You do it fast. You don't second guess it, and it just comes out amazing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? That happens
I know.
too. So it's like that's the weird thing about art is like there's just no like set way of doing things.
No, there's no rule book for this. No.
It's always different, and that's kind of like, I don't know, what makes it mysterious and cool.
It also makes me wonder how the brains of non-creative people work.
Yeah. I know. I don't know.
But that must be so. For me, that's so alien. So
yeah. But
people ask me sometimes, where do you get your ideas from? But then I think, why don't you get these ideas?
Yeah, I know. yeah, right. But then again, it's like the whole world is oriented towards them. It's like it's oriented more for non-creative people. So we're kind of like at a disadvantage in that way. It's weird.
Well, we also have an advantage because other people are making these great roads for us. We can drive on and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's so true.
Everyone has their own skill set.
Totally.
I guess.
Yeah. And trust me, you don't want to be an artist. I mean, I love it. It's cool, but it's not for everybody. There's a lot of
it's a frustration.
Yeah, there's a lot of frustration. I have to ask you, this is totally technical. I'm watching this animation. It looks like it's the Graveyard of Dreams one with this pulling out of the skull with the stars.
Yeah.
How did you do the smoke? This,
th-
that's
yeah,
amazing. That looks like real. That looks real. It looks. I mean, that doesn't look CG at all.
it's Phoenix FD. It's called. It's a plugin for 3D Studio Max. And
What's
you
it called?
can make these Phoenix.
Oh, Phoenix. Okay,
And
that's amazing.
it's now bought by Gaos, which is like the maker of V-Ray. So it fits with this renderer. It's part of this renderer in a way.
Okay.
And that's how I made it. I mean,
It looks like you can't tell. It's not. You cannot tell that it's not real. I swear, it's crazy.
yeah,
I can't
it's
tell.
pretty cool.
Normally, you can tell when stuff, even if it's done well, you can kind of tell that it's like computer generated.
Yeah.
But this makes it look like a real object.
But these are the challenges for me sometimes. Like, oh yeah, let's try to get it as real as possible.
Right,
so,
right.
But I had to use this plugin for work, for my client work. So yeah.
So you get to
your brain starts like, what can I do with this?
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
it's so cool. I love it.
Because I really have tons of software. So yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
I
right.
Animate more. But yeah, I animate for my living already. So yeah, then I rather make stills sometimes.
Right. So what are your main programs that you use? I want to get into the technical stuff now because I'm totally into that. I'm such a techie kind of person. What's your main software?
3D Studio Max is my main 3D program, and ZBrush.
Okay. Wow. 3D Studio Max. I didn't even realize that was still in wide use. Is it popular?
People say it dies every year. They say, oh, this program is gonna die. But
so it's like Lightwave then, kind of, in a way.
The user base is really huge though. I mean,
okay. Yeah, because it was 3D Studio Max was like the big one back in the day. Like
it's
everybody.
Still really good. It's a great modeler, I think.
Is it really?
It's great to model stuff. It's better than Blender for sure. So.
Oh, okay.
Now I'll get these death threats in my inbox.
So okay. Wow, 3D Studio Max. So what's the most recent version of it? Are they still updating it and stuff?
Yeah, I got a new version and a new build this year. So yeah.
Okay.
Jeez, but it's like 2,000 euros per year. It's like ridiculous.
Shit. Because I had a friend who was a hacker when I was getting in. This guy taught me Lightwave. He worked on Babylon 5, I think he worked on.
Okay, cool.
Back in the day.
Yeah, it was really impressive back then.
Yeah, and he was telling me that they had an animation of a spaceship flying, and they would set it to render one frame to check to see how their stuff looked. Then they would go to lunch. It would take an hour to render a single frame just to check what they were doing, and then come back from lunch to see if it looked good. It's like crazy, man.
Yeah, it took ages back then.
Yeah.
Now it renders really quick, all this stuff.
Yeah. So anyway, I was just gonna say, so he was like a hacker guy too. He was a 3D animated hacker. He said he gave me a CD with all these cracked programs, which is how I learned. That's how I learned Lightwave. That's how I learned everything. And 3D Studio Max was on there. And so I did try it, and I bought a book, and it was like I don't know. I didn't click with it. I think I'd been using Lightwave. I was learning Lightwave. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to stick with Lightwave because it was really hard to understand how to operate it.
Well, the thing is that I learned 3D Studio 4 for DOS on my internship. So
right.
So it was a kind of logical follow-up.
It's like that thing I was saying, it's like you kind of stick with what you know the best.
So I'm still using. I love the program actually. I think it's and it's like my back pocket, this program. So yeah, why would I switch right now? Because it doesn't matter which program you make. It
doesn't.
No, every program has advantages and disadvantages, and
you can work around them all pretty much with plugins and just cheats and stuff.
Exactly. I like these people that are always fighting over which software is best.
I know.
And I never see their work. So
exactly.
they're only the whole day they spent, I think, online fighting over what's better, and they never opened the program or something.
Right. So okay. Okay. What was I was gonna ask you something about. Oh, you never learned Maya? Because I remember at one point it was like
I learned Maya as well.
Maya's it. Maya's the one. Maya does
Yeah.
everything. So why didn't you switch to Maya? Just because you knew 3D Studio better?
Yeah, I had to use it for some stuff, but I didn't like how it didn't. I know how it works, but it doesn't click with me like workflow wise.
Oh,
I'm so used to Max that I can do it blind almost, you know.
okay.
So, yeah.
Man, I wish I had that kind of knowledge. I wish I could plug in like the Matrix and just all the information just get in your head. I want to get back to where I was back in the day with it.
But yeah, I was a 3D operator at the graphic. At the what was it? The graphic department for the news. So I had to make animations really quick, and we used Max. So if a plane crashed, you had to make it the same day. Stuff like
wow,
that. So
wow.
that's how I got really fast at it. So
yeah, I imagine you have to be.
Yeah, this nuclear power plant is like Fukushima. You have to build Fukushima because no one sells a model of it. So.
Wow, that's got to be pretty high stress.
It is also with rendering. It was crazy back then. We didn't have GPU rendering, so it was all CPUs, and then you hope the network stayed stable because you used like fucking 10 computers that were really old and shitty. And
yeah. Did you ever have a moment where you didn't get the graphic done in time for the story on the news?
It happened a few times. I mean, I worked there for 15 years or something. So
it happens. What happens when that happens? What do they do? They just have you have like a backup image?
Yeah, sometimes I remember if an animation wouldn't render, you made some stills you prepared up front, so they could do it with stills, but they wanted the animation, of course. And it was really messed up because you'd never know when this happens, this kind of stuff. So they could come in, we need this plane crash animation in 4 hours. So it's like, okay.
That's like probably the best training to learn though. Like just high pressure, really fast.
You didn't get up your seat. Also, coworkers were getting you coffee and stuff because you shouldn't move. You should stay on your seat and work. They almost brought a toilet, you know. I mean, it's like
they should put the toilets for the seats.
That was crazy work. But we also used After Effects and stuff like that, and Photoshop. So I learned all these quick ways of doing stuff, and all kind of technical loopholes in it, like how to do this.
That's what's so great. That's what I love about the digital workflow, and when I remember it was like this huge revelation to me when I figured out you can do render passes, and you could render with alpha channels. And you and composite everything in After Effects and have way more control over your whole scene, and you can cheat depth of field by blurring your backgrounds, and stuff that would save time instead of like the hour-long renders of an entire scene. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right now you can even render passes with different lighting and crypto. You have something that's called crypto mask. You can actually select objects. It will make a mask out of the separate 3D objects in your compositing thing.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow.
So say you have two objects, you can select the object, and it will make a mask out of it. So it's perfect for compositing.
Yeah. It's so amazing. So with your work, I mean, all the stuff I did, I would kind of figure a scene out in 3D, and I would render every element generally, unless there was like a section that didn't have to move or whatever. I'd have my camera move or whatever. I would render it like for the skull animation or whatever that I'm looking at that you did. It's like I would render the skull out. Well, maybe not. This isn't a great example, but I would render different objects out without alpha channels embedded, and I'd bring everything into Photoshop. And that's really when it's like I use the 3D to create my raw materials basically.
Yeah.
And then in After Effects, I would do all the adjustments and cheat things and cheat depth of field, and even like rim lights you could cheat if you're careful with like brightening you have the skull, you could like turn it really bright and then like shift it slightly. So it's, there's all kinds of really fun ways to cheat. And so then it's kind of like, I felt like for me, the way my workflow, it's like the 3D was blocking everything out, and all the kind of like artistic work for me, where I could add like filters and fog things up and grain and stuff, and adjust values on different layers, all happened in After Effects and compositing.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, it's like, are you rendering entire scenes in 3D and doing minimal compositing, or are you doing it in that same way for your work?
It depends on the image, really. I mean, I have some images that look more 2D actually in the end, like that they look more like, I don't know, mixed media things, and then I composite a lot. But some of the things I built are almost like the renders, because there was this funny Twitter thread some while ago, and it was like, oh yeah, the before and after adjustments in Photoshop. So it was almost the same for me for some pieces. So yeah, it depends on the image and what I want to create actually. So
so yeah, it's always different, I guess. That makes sense.
Yeah, it's what's in my head and how I reach that goal. I know many roads to get to a certain goal, I think, because I had to learn so many shortcuts to get a certain result.
Yeah.
I just blend the image almost, like, okay, I need this or that, because depth of field you can fake, of course, but the problem is with real depth of field with a camera, it actually will go behind the object.
Right. I know. It's a different, this was, I'm talking, the stuff I was doing was way back where depth of field was like a big deal to actually render out.
Yeah.
It was like, now it's not such a big, you could actually do 3D layers and After Effects now and do depth of field, which is pretty cool. I hope people aren't bored with this talk, but I love it. I'm so into all this technical shit, 3D stuff. So I mean, you do process though. Do you ever do, like, even if it's a 2D or a 3D animation, do you ever do any that are no processing afterwards? Because I always assume that everybody that does 3D images, or like that Bill Ellis guy, Bill Ellis?
I know Bill, yeah.
Amazing shit. Yeah. I'm assuming he's got to be doing some processing after. Those aren't his renders, do you think?
No, he pulls it in Photoshop, but the render is usually sometimes it's just a color adjustment though. I mean,
right, but there's something usually that you got to adjust in the end. I mean, don't you do that fine tuning? Maybe you don't have to
fine tune it. Now I have to fine tune it. Because I don't believe the render is good anyway. So like, even if I pull this slider and I see nothing happen, at least I did my best to make it as good as possible.
You made the effort.
Yeah.
This is why I'm so excited about, or one of the reasons I'm so excited about getting into NFTs, man. I know people are probably, Paul, the podcast, people might be sick of hearing me talk about it. I'm just like on the South Park episode where I'm just talking about NFTs all the time. I can't, but it's like, it's that exciting. I'm sorry, but
well, it's cool, I think.
And it's for me personally, it's like I was always so in love with digital work, and there was no way to monetize it for me.
No.
So it's like now
problem.
Yeah. So now I have a reason. It's like you have to go into like a service type of a business in order to make money back in the day. And it's like, now you can make art and you can make money from it. And so it's, for me, it's giving me a reason to go back and just play again in digital, which is super inspiring and exciting to me. Because I tried starting a small boutique CG computer animation business
Yeah.
when I was into it, because I was like, that's how you had to do it to make money, like doing commercials and stuff. And we got one. We did the Tool stuff, some of the Tool animations, and one movie called Fortress 2, I think. And it was like we made these screens like for a spaceship, like warning, like schematics. Yeah, and that was like, wow, we got paid $900 to do that, and it was like, but I could, it just at that point, I guess, I don't know, I just couldn't make it work as a business, so it failed. So that was part of the reason I went into painting and stuff. But yeah, but it's like now we have a reason. Now we have a way to help finance our work.
Well, I used to do it with, I did a lot of CD designs back then, like for metal bands, when I started with digital work. So, and shirt designs. So those printers were always pissed at me because of the color separations. But yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Because I didn't separate it for them. So they had to do it. Well, yeah, that was such a hard, it was hard to earn money with it. I did it on the side of my broadcast job in a way. So I did it, but yeah, getting paid and stuff was really difficult in this at this moment. And yeah, also people they think, oh yeah, we want to make a CD, do the whole layout, typography, everything. Here is $800. Yeah, what the hell?
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
Can't live of that. Yeah. People, yeah, and then they rent a studio for I don't know how much per day, but the designer has to starve or something. So
right. Yeah.
So that was kind of hard, and I was disappointed by it as well, like this whole scene. So I kind of even stopped with it for a few years. I stopped making art.
Mm-hmm. Just because can't make any money.
No, there was no money, but also because I tried it for money, I got really, I don't know, it was really demotivating. So I didn't even like it as a hobby anymore. So
right.
And now I got it back as a hobby, and then the whole NFT thing started. Yeah, so I'm kind of like, okay, this is cool.
Yeah. So how did you get involved in that?
Because of Bill Ellis, because I saw him.
Oh, really?
I follow him on Instagram.
His stuff is, the thing about him is this stuff is not only is his work. I want to get him in the podcast too. Let's see if you.
Oh, you can. I think it should be possible.
Really? I would love that, man. But his stuff is great. It's amazing. But you know what else is great about him? He has that I definitely don't have is his presentation is amazing. Like if you look at his Instagram, look at his Instagram profile, and then look at his website. It's like it's all so slick and clean and matches. And it's like I'm not that guy. I can't. I'm like a slob. Look at my studio. It's like this is who I am. So it's like I have to kind of just go with that because that's how I am. But I'm envious that he's doing that presentation. Is just like I'm so impressed with it.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. So it's like this chic dark art.
Yeah, it's
classy.
Super, yeah, totally like classy, which is great for. I think it's great for the dark art community because it's I think it makes it easier for people like us to kind of break in the mainstream a little bit because he's made it more palatable to the mainstream a little bit.
Yeah, it's like this bridge between dark art and the I don't know, more
the regular
accepted art. Yeah.
So how did you get I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but how did you get started with NFTs? Bill Ellis.
I saw that on Instagram and I got invited to Foundation back then by a friend. So
when was this?
Last year in end of February.
Okay. Ago. Yeah, that's like 10 years in the NFT world.
Man, I got 80 years older or something.
It's time is different in the NFT world, man. It's weird.
It's also really weird because I had sometimes projects in between during this this NFT thing. I mean, I had some project for a client, like a big project. So I stopped with it for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But the weird thing is, time seems to go really fast when you're in it. But when you get back to it, it's like you missed nothing.
Really?
So, yeah.
It's like a weird time warp, man.
Yeah.
It's so, everybody says this too. It's like it's true. It's like you tell it to someone who's not in it, and it's like, yeah, whatever. But man, it really is true. It's so
it's some
weird.
Twilight Zone shit.
It's
Or something. I have no idea.
Totally Twilight Zone. So you got on Foundation and that was it? Did you just go for it, or did you have like anyone helping you out, like advising you? Because I had Josh Breckenridge advising me so I didn't make any like major mistakes or anything.
I made tons of mistakes probably because I minted too much, of course.
So, yeah, that's what a lot of people I guess do. It is they'll mint too much, price too high.
But I think this scarcity thing is a bit of a nonsense thing, though. I mean, in a way, some people are so scarce they made 2 pieces and you never see them anymore.
Right.
I mean, yeah. What do you want? Do you want a body of work at some point? And,
right.
It's also it doesn't help because I'm kind of, if I work on my art, I'm kind of productive, so I can make a lot of stuff.
Right.
Because the ideas are there.
I mean,
what do I do? Do I keep this art and not mint it and wait? But then they start complaining, oh, but you minted old piece. Yeah, what the hell do you want, you know?
Right, yeah. I mean, I kind of, that's true in the fine art world too, where they talk about like, don't make too much work. You know, you have to have that scarcity thing to keep the value up. But I've never done that. I've never done that. It's like, I just, you know, I create a lot of work and I show a lot of work and I try and sell it. And I just like, I let all that be what it's going to be. And I don't try to hold back really, you know what I mean? It's
because it feels like it's holding back. It's like someone ties a brick to your leg or
right.
something, you know?
Yeah. And and it feels kind of like, I don't know.
Well, you can release like 10,000 apes or something and sell them, but you can make 10,000 pieces of unique artwork.
Right. That doesn't make any sense. So how have you done in the NFT space?
No, not too bad, because sometimes you think, oh yeah, I'm not selling for months, but in the end I had quite some sales. So I'm doing okay. I mean, I earn more with my art than ever before in the end. So
right.
So I'm okay with it because it's something I didn't expect, and it's just funding more time for me to make more art. So I see it like that. I don't expect to make. I don't have the expectations I'm gonna live from this. You know, I just keep doing my job, and I'll do this on the side. And if I can do a bit less of my job and a bit more art, then that's always welcome, of course. So I look at it like that. So
you have like a realistic approach. You're not setting your expectations too high.
No, because I might get disappointed again. So then I might, get sent.
Managing expectations, they call it.
Yeah, some people think that not everyone can get rich out of this, or like I mean, that's not possible. There's not like an infinite amount of money, even like crypto. So people spend it on certain things. So I'm really grateful for people who invested in this stuff for me. Like I'm really happy with it, because it gave me the opportunity to make more, and it also motivates us. So even if I don't sell anything in like 2 years, I still sold stuff, so I can always look back at that. So I reached something I never reached before. So for me, it's new.
Yeah.
Because selling digital art in galleries, impossible. I tried it in my life.
I know. I keep telling this story. I've told it on like the last 3 episodes. That whenever NFTs come up, is that I remember going to a gallery with Cam DeLeon, who's a genius, one of the most amazing artists ever, and galleries just turning him away because they're like, we can't sell digital work. It's like you've got these amazing pieces and you're just turning down a genius because you haven't figured it out. But it's yeah, people don't realize, you know, with all the shit talking about NFTs, there's like, it's given, you know, it's given a new life to digital artists that they, you know, new opportunity for digital artists that they
Yeah.
never had before to create
Yeah,
art.
well,
You know?
yeah, exactly. It's also something weird because I've been to a lot of museum in my life, and always these weird video installations are always accepted. But if you make a
Right. Yeah.
digital still,
Yeah.
it's like,
What the fuck? They're like really stupid ones too.
yeah. Uh, I've seen some really stupid art in my life, to be honest. I know you can't judge art, but yeah, come on.
That's that's the other thing. I'm gonna say a little bit more about NFTs. I said I wasn't gonna, but I'm gonna do it anyway. It's like, you know, with all the criticism of NFTs, you know, the criticisms, you hear them over and over. You must have heard them all. So being in for a
Yeah.
year, I remember. That's like when Josh was. I was talking to Josh Breckenridge, the guy who's been helping me, good friend of mine. He's been on the podcast talking about crypto before. He got me into crypto too early, you know, or you know,
Yeah.
beginning of 2020. Um, uh, you know, every time something would come up when I was just getting into it and someone would tell me something and I'd be like, oh man, are you sure? Are you sure this is cool? He'd be like, dude, I've been hearing that for years, man. It's just don't listen. But he's like, I've heard it all. He'd always tell me that. I've heard it all. But oh fuck, what was my point? I'm totally forgetting what my great point was. Oh, it's like you know how that video line goes up or whatever, the big anti NFT video that came out recently, 2 hours long, everyone's talking about it, that, you know, that hates NFTs. So basically what that guy did was take all of the worst things about NFTs and then presented it as this is the NFT space. And it's like, why not do that with the art world? You could find a million terrible, talentless, phony artists making millions of dollars creating shit and then present that this is the art world. That's not the art world. It's one tiny little part of the art world. There's like the most of the art world is people like us grinding it out, making good work against all odds and showing in galleries, not making a ton of money. That's like the most of it. And it's just so unfair to present it, take the worst bits of it and present it as like this is all there is.
Yeah, well, that's just like propaganda in the end. So
it is, it really is.
Yeah.
And it's a bummer for people who are missing out, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but you know, I think people who start to who believe that stuff wouldn't get into it anyway. I don't know. I mean,
I guess I was
you only get judged by people who don't look further, and that's always
that's true. That's true. I mean, I keep saying too, I was like that myself. So, but I took the time and learned about it. You know what I mean? I opened my mind a little bit, and I always try and consider both sides to things. You know. And
well, of course, I also thought of these things. I mean, I thought of them, but when you look at it for longer and more rational, it's actually most of it is nonsense what they claim. So
and a lot of it is the exact opposite of what they claim too. Ironically, you know.
People are also hypocrites, you know. I mean, the gamer community is complaining about power use, and the GPUs are on all the fucking time, you know. I mean, come on.
Oh yeah. That's the other thing. It's like for some reason, people in the gaming industry hates NFTs. Like I know people that work. I know someone that works at a gaming place, and she was telling me that like 98% of the people there hate NFTs, and the environmental aspect of it is a big part of it. But it's like gaming uses way more energy than crypto or NFTs or anything.
Yeah, I mean, go play Monopoly then or some shit. You know, I mean, some guy behind his computer is complaining about others using computers. You know?
Yeah, it is. It's really hypocritical. It's lame.
It's the same with this. I gave this example before. It was also in a space. It's like people driving Teslas here, you know, they're driving on coal sometimes because the electricity here comes from coal.
Right,
so actually,
right.
I mean, go
It's
cycle.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then there's, you know, there's always something. It's like no one's hands are clean, you know. No one's hands are clean. It's the world we live in, you know.
Every human has a carbon footprint and you won't get rid of it. So,
Yeah,
and one does it this way and the other one does it that
right,
way. So,
exactly. Yeah,
and you
yeah.
can do all these things at the same time. So one will do this and the other one does this. But
Right. And as
people
long
always forget their own problems, or what they're causing actually.
right. It's like, you know, as long as everybody's trying, that's all good. It's cool. You know, it's like we all do it in
Yeah.
different ways, you know, as long as you make some kind of effort. Nobody wants to see the fucking environment destroyed. You know, nobody
No.
does. It's crazy.
Well, perhaps one guy, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Well, we're getting near the end of the show, and I'm just trying to think of any last. Oh, I know what I wanted to ask you. This text thread we're in, this epic text thread that you guys invited me to. I don't know if you did you invite me into someone, or I don't know, someone invited me to be part of this text thread.
See Saros.
Okay, yeah, on Twitter. And it was when I was just getting in, and it's all of these dark artists, and it's a little private message where just people are talking about dark art, whatever is going on. How long have you been in that? How long has that been around? It just goes on and on. It's like you just check in and see what people are talking about. It's really cool.
Sometimes check in what happens there. So yeah, it just depends. I mean, right now it's a bit different because people are in a bad situation. So
I know
it's more active. So yeah.
Right. But I mean, how long is it?
It's like I don't know. Since that whole thing started, I think that it's probably for a year there.
Yeah.
I wasn't there all the time either. So
right.
I mean, I came there later. So
it's a cool little group of people. Everyone's really, you know, as far as what I've seen, it's like very supportive of each other, and everyone welcomed me, which was really cool. No one was giving me shit.
You're a hero, so yeah.
I don't know. I felt like I don't know. Coming in, I felt like you know, kind of insecure because this is not my world. I'm like, you know, I feel like I'm the NFT world. It's like I felt like I'm coming into a place that you guys, everybody that's doing it has been doing for a while, and you come in and you're like, hey guys, I'm just a new guy. I want to play in the game too, you know, so you feel insecure about it. So just to see all that, to have all that welcoming energy was really, really cool for me.
Well, it's also not an NFT world. It's just a dark art world.
That's true. So, that's true.
And it's I think it's great that we get, like, for me as a digital artist in a way, it's great to get in touch with people who do like analog work, you know.
Right. So, yeah.
I mean, I learned so much from that as well. So I mean, I'm listening through all your podcasts now. So yeah.
Oh, cool.
I mean, it's really interesting to hear something. So yeah, I think it's nice that we have this bridge right now, that we connect, because there have been two separate worlds always.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. It's I feel like I said, I feel like I had to leave that world back in the day because I couldn't earn a living at it. Like I tried to make a living and I couldn't do it.
I compare the NFT world with when the digital world started, kind of like for me, because there were these art groups. I was in an art group as well, and yeah, people were like, it was like this cohesive thing because everyone was into this new thing.
Yeah.
And back then, and then at some point, it was so big it fell apart actually, and now it's like this group again. So yeah, I just hope it stays.
I know.
I think. I just also hope that in the NFT space that these collectibles will separate from the art at some point. So
what do you mean?
Well, I compared it earlier with, like, they're selling placemats in an art gallery, you know, all these collectible, these profile pictures and stuff.
Oh, right,
you know, I hope there will be two separate markets for it, because it's now like,
because the generative stuff, I mean, I think the generative stuff's really cool and fun. Like to me, it's like, I get it. I finally get it. But it does seem very different from like, fine art NFTs. It feels like a different trip. You
it's
know what
like
I mean?
baseball cards in a museum for art or something, like,
Yeah,
it, yeah.
right.
I mean, yeah, it's just two different worlds. And I notice people are getting pissed at these collectibles, but yeah, people also have to see that they're investments for some. But there are too many of them, and it's kind of clouding
I
everything
know,
sometimes.
I know. It's just
It's
that
just,
that recent one. I forget what it's called. Did you see that one
oh,
where
this really ugly one, this pixel months.
the memes are hilarious?
I think it's genius actually, because it's so bad.
It's so bad that
It's almost good.
it's gonna be they're gonna be valuable. They're gonna be valuable because people think they're so bad, and they're getting like all kinds of shares and stuff.
It's too stupid. It will get such a momentum.
Yeah, it's really more about exposure and kind of fame in a way than it is about the art for stuff like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
like there's no such thing as bad publicity kind of situation.
Yeah, exactly. People getting pissed at it, but I'm really laughing at these things. I mean, I think it's really funny actually. People are getting pissed. I understand people are getting pissed because their art doesn't sell and people buy this,
right.
this stuff. But I mean, yeah,
arts, but art sales has never been about the best artist makes the best sales.
No, of course not.
No, it's like art sales in the in the real world, or whatever you want to call it, in the analog world. It's about marketing. It's the same thing. That's the other thing about the NFT world that I was surprised to find, that it's like it's almost exactly like the analog fine art world. It's really similar, except it moves way faster. But it's about marketing and promotion and I don't know, your history and all kinds of other things aside from the art. And you can complain about it, but it's like that's the way it is, whether you like it or not. So the way I've always felt is you got to accept that that's the way it is. So you have to play that game, the promotion game, the marketing game.
You won't change it. So,
yeah, you won't change it. It's not going to change. It's the way people are, whatever. The best that you can do as an artist is to make your art so good that it lives up to all the hype you're going to have to hype about it in order to make it get it to sell. So it's like that's really all you can do, is just try and make really badass, great work.
Yeah, I have issues with marketing though. I really find it a difficult thing to.
Every artist, I think most artists have a trouble marketing, but it's what you got to do.
I know. I'm getting better at it, I think. But it's like I'm not used to it to have to sell this. Well, I don't have to. Perhaps it helps me as well because I'm kind of relaxed about it.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, for me, it was a do or die situation with my art career. I had to learn how to market. I'm talking early 2000s. So I was reading books about it and all that crap. It's like, so didn't want to do it. But, once you learn the basics, you kind of get the basic principles. It's not that bad. You just kind of have to get used to it and just kind of do it.
Well, right now it's no effort. I mean, you tweet something and you're marketing, I mean,
I know.
Drag all your stuff around the country to sell it or something.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like it's kind of never been easier to market yourself. It's just a new skill. And like I always tell artist friends of mine or younger artists that are trying to get into it, it's like, if you know how to paint, that's way harder than marketing. If you know how to create good digital work or whatever, 3D animation, That's so much harder than marketing. If you could do that, you could do the marketing part. You just don't want to do it, but nobody wants to do it. It's boring.
Well, you feel like this vacuum cleaner salesman.
Yeah, I
you
know.
I mean,
but that gets back to, excuse me, that gets back to really making the work great and believing in the work. That's what's allowed me to market with a clear conscience, because I really think I love the work that I do. Like I do my best work. I really feel like I don't half-ass it. I suffer for it. Like I make sure that the work is really good. So then when I go to promote it, I believe in it. So I don't feel like I'm ripping or like I'm trying to scam people, because I'm like, this is a good thing. I'm promoting it. I believe in it. If you're doing half-ass work, maybe it would feel weird. I don't know. But as long as the work measures up, I think you're good,
Yeah, but I see some people that they're minting their test renders and stuff. Yeah, what the hell, I mean,
yeah.
What do you expect? I mean, I also have these little experimental, like, oh yeah, I'll render this skull this way and I'll post it, but I'm not gonna sell it, I mean,
right. Well, you shouldn't, unless you feel it's worthy of selling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I could see maybe selling it for cheap, like a study, like you'd sell a study as a way to
that could be
to sell to someone who can't afford an original. It's something cheaper. Maybe, I don't know, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm just not doing it, and I don't have to worry about it either.
Yeah, if you don't have to, that's the luxury of having a side job, like a job to support everything, is you don't have that pressure to earn.
No, other pressure.
As opposed to me, who has to pull out. I got a bill due in 3 days that I don't have enough money for, so I'm pulling out these old G clays and doing hand embellishments so I can sell them tomorrow. And it's like,
it looks awesome though.
Thanks. They're kind of fun, but it's like, that's how you know when I have to pay bills, is when you see like, oh, a study sale comes up or dropping an NFT. It's like, I got to bring the money in. But
I was just thinking earlier, what if Rembrandt or Van Gogh had to shill their work?
I know, right? Exactly. Yeah.
In this old Dutch language or some shit.
Yeah, not even. It's not gonna happen. Yeah, it's a new world, man. It's a different world. It's a totally different world. Well, thanks for coming on, man. I really had a great time talking to you.
Yeah, me too. It's great.
Love your work.
Thanks.
It's really great, very inspiring, and I'm definitely gonna bother you with questions.
That's always okay. That's also the modern world. I can just block you if it's too much.
Right. That's true. And then never hear from me again. Hit the block button. It's like the person does not exist.
No, but I'm happy to help people always. I enjoy helping people.
Yeah. I feel like that's, at least in that, maybe it's in the dark art community too, because we're smaller and we have to help each other. But I feel like in that text thread, everyone seems very helpful. You seem like one of the more helpful people, like you're giving little tips here and there and stuff, but everyone seems to be like willing to help each other, share each other's work, stuff like that, support each other basically.
Yeah, I don't see it as competition. I think there's strength in numbers in this, I mean,
absolutely.
The whole community has to grow, that it becomes more, I don't know, more accepted or more normal for people.
Right.
People have to get used to stuff, it's like TV. There was this, I remember you had this old TV series, Millennium, which was too dark for TV almost. These days, this became the new norm, I mean, people have to get used to things. So
right. Yeah.
If you expose it to them, they start to see probably the beauty of it, or how cool it is.
Yeah. That was, I mean, that's certainly the case for NFTs in general, but with dark art particularly, I mean, this is the whole goal of the podcast, really, is just one more step to, it's like, it's for regular people's benefit. in a way. It's like,
Yeah.
in one sense, it's supporting artists, it's helping to get the word out. But it's like the way I view it is there's people that are missing out on this cool art because they don't
Yeah.
know that it's okay to like, and it's because it's, they just are from a culture that doesn't appreciate it. But it's like it's kind of like with the NFTs in a way too. It's for you. I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to let you know that there's this cool artwork that you could enjoy. It could be really like enriching to your life if you just kind of open up to it a little bit and realize it's not stupid or not evil or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I think it's growing though. I mean,
Oh
if you
yeah.
see, I mean, also on TV programs, stuff gets darker. People get
Yep.
used to it. People
Yep.
start to like it, and only in the Netherlands the community is really, yeah, I don't know. There's not really a dark art community in the Netherlands. I mean, I
That's
sometimes
because
saw people.
you guys got it too good there.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I sometimes saw these Instagram things like that. There was like this exhibition for dark artists somewhere or whatever, Church of Satan, stuff like that, and really cool stuff. And yeah, then it's such a pity that I live here, I mean, like you can't be part of these things really. So
right.
this is great right now.
Yeah.
These are great times.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I was surprised when I came over to Twitter and saw that like there was all these dark artists doing digital stuff. I was like,
yeah,
I felt like I thought I knew all the dark artists already, and there's this whole group of people that I've missed because they've been in NFTs and doing digital, which I haven't been involved with. I've been involved with like the gallery scene,
yeah.
So it was like surprising and cool that it's you're seeing seeing it spread out, and in seeing it in like Europe and stuff as well has been surprising to me because it's like
Yeah.
normally it's for you, at least in the physical dark art world, it's like US mostly in the States, and probably mostly in LA too.
Yeah.
It's like it's weird. It's probably because LA is so completely fucked up and insane. But New York, the scene isn't that big there, and I just I think it's changing. I think it's changing
Yeah.
because when I was showing, I had a couple shows in London. I had a show in London and one in Berlin, and man, it was like both of those places were at the only dark art gallery in London and the only dark art gallery in
Yeah.
Berlin. And I thought like Europe of all places should have a lot of dark art, you'd think, from their history and World War II and everything.
Eastern countries.
Yeah, right. It seems like it's Eastern European countries or but even Beksinski was like I was talking to one of the people in the thread, I forget who it was, but a Polish artist saying that, in Poland, they don't give a shit about him, really.
No.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, what the hell, really?
Yeah.
It's funny that this like Giger gets. I don't know how he's recognized in Austria. I don't know.
Yeah. He's also not. He's more accepted, I think, in the States, and because of the alien.
I don't think in the country itself.
Yeah, I don't think so. It's crazy. It's just our outsider status.
Well, if I ever become ether rich, I'll start a dark art gallery here.
Right. There's a lot of people in the Netherlands that would love it. It's just there's no place for them to go and like see it. You know what I mean?
No.
They're there. They're there though. They're everywhere.
Of course they are. Yeah.
They're everywhere.
We also have a lot of metal people in our country.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, and that's usually the kind of group you're aiming at.
Yeah, they're connected. It's connected for sure. Well, cool, man. Thanks again thanks. Don't hang up, but we have to just. I'll stop the recording. I forgot to tell you that because I'm a bad podcaster, but I appreciate you coming on. It was super fun talking to you. And I'll put it in the body of the listing, but where can people go to see your stuff?
The easiest way is on Instagram. So DAMNEngine on Instagram.
It's DAMNENGINE.
Correct. Yeah.
That's kind of your art name, Damn Engine.
Yeah. Yeah. Correct.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. I don't know how that came.
I know. I forgot to ask you that. I was going to ask you that. It works though. It's cool.
Yeah.
So Instagram is the best place, and then I guess Twitter as well, right?
Yeah, but Twitter is hard, of course, with this gallery stuff because it's hard to find pieces on Twitter.
Oh yeah, I know. Right. So Instagram, okay.
Yeah. My website is so outdated. It was more client work than.
Okay.
I have this Instagram feed on my website, but yeah, I'm gonna focus my website on my art now because I don't need more clients.
Right. So, yeah, well, your ArtStation is great too. There's a lot of stuff on your ArtStation.
Yeah, I didn't update it for like months, I think.
It's awesome though for people who are not familiar. How do you pronounce your last name?
Seabine.
Seabine. Okay.
Yeah.
Dennis Seabine. Okay. But you
didn't invent it.
What's that?
I didn't invent that name. It's a really shitty name to spell it all the time.
I got here from your Twitter. So you have a link tree on Twitter too, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's probably a good place. Go to Dennis's Twitter, Damn Engine, and then link tree. And then there's like links to your Instagram. There's links to ArtStation.
Yeah, that's the best way. I think.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, the only thing left to do is to say goodbye to everybody. So just kind of say goodbye, audience.
Goodbye, people.
Goodbye, people of Earth.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to stop the recording now. This is so unprofessional.